I think we're live.
Yay!
We're in. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, where you are.
Thank you. Yeah, about midday, lunchtime.
Lunchtime. Happy afternoon, happy lunchtime. Welcome to the Cosmic Con part 1 of our panel.
Very excited
right now, we
to be here.
Very, very happy to have you. Just to introduce everybody, my name is Meadow. I'm a mental health advocate, so I'm here to talk to all these wonderful, badass women about mental health. I have the extremely multi-hyphenate, talented, all of the above, Hannah Bronfman with us. Hannah, do you want to do a quick summary of what you do? And I'd like to know in your little intro, last thing you did for your mental health.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Hannah Bronfman. I am an author of a book called Do What Feels Good. I am the founder of a wellness platform called HB Fit. I'm also a DJ, although during COVID, that seems to not really be relevant these days.
Virtual.
And the last thing I did for my mental health was take a bath. I actually took a CBD bath. I made these little CBD bath bombs that are
You made them yourself?
I did HB Fit did a collaboration with Highline Wellness, which is a great CBD brand, and we just made them to be super relaxing, very hydrating for the skin. And so it was just really nice to take a bath and take a second just to feel grounded and wash all of the anxiety of the upcoming election off. And I was gonna say, and I'm about to have a baby, so it's in here. You can't. So just kind of getting grounded in all of those, upcoming feels and the labor itself. So just
absolutely. I always remind people that taking a shower or a bath, that truly is self-care, because what else literally washes away the day?
Literally.
Wash your hands clean of it, give yourself a nice scrub, or sit and soak in the CBD. It truly is a coping strategy.
I give myself a little extra massage while I'm in the bath or the shower. It's just giving yourself a little extra TLC in those moments is so, so important.
Exactly. Okay, so this is a beautiful segue, because the first question I have, I know you're very mind-body oriented, and I know you talked pretty openly about how you grew up as a dancer. I know your wellness journey started because of losing your grandmother to an eating disorder, and I grew up dancing as well, so I know the implications of that mind-body, body dysmorphia connection. So I'm just curious, how in pregnancy, how's your mind-body connection changed? What has your mental health been like, especially because it's your first pregnancy, and I know that was quite a journey. So is that kind of relationships for you shifted during pregnancy?
So I have to say, I am I feel like I heard this from so many women, and it might be the most commonly the common thread, I think, for most first-time pregnancies, but I am just in full awe of my body and what it can do, and the fact that it is growing a human, the fact that it has grown a new organ that only is here for this time. And then not only is it growing an organ to help keep this child alive, but it's growing all of this child's organs. It's honestly, I'm a big sci-fi girl. Ooh. And I feel like I am starring in my own sci-fi film. It is so crazy. Every day I feel the baby moving so much, and it's just, I'm in awe. It's amazing. And I feel really good. I feel really strong. I have minor annoying things that just come along with pregnancy, like acid reflux and things like that. But other than that, I am just, I'm so, I didn't know that my body would be so happy being pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah. It feels
No, go ahead.
No, it just feels like really good and like really natural, and like it's crazy how like, you know, your hips move and like your body just like makes all of these natural adjustments to accommodate what's happening. It's just it's really amazing.
Does it feel like confidence building? Like, do you feel more self-assured in your own body, in your own head? Like,
Yeah,
I know you're in awe, but is it building that at the same time? Like, what is that kind of like?
yeah, I definitely it's funny. I've it's not like I definitely do feel very confident. It's not like putting on the extra pounds, like how people think about it. I don't feel like I am just like gaining weight. I feel like strong. I feel like I'm like I feel like I still have like muscle definition. I feel like I'm still super active. And then I have like this belly that has like a actual human in it. It feels
living human in it.
Yeah. It feels really, really surreal. It's totally confident building, especially in the fact that not even just like, yes, I feel confident in my body, but it's a different level of confidence because you're like creating life. It's not just like, you know what I mean? And then I really enjoy the way that I do look with a big belly and curves. And
you
I
look
think
beautiful.
Also, thank you. And my husband, I have to say, you know, for those who are going through this with a partner, like it really is amazing to see them see you differently. And like my husband has just been like, I mean, every single day he like tells me how beautiful I look, and like it's so sweet, and like so it's been really, really nice.
I'm so happy for you, because you guys were so public about your journey and how difficult it was at first. So it's so I feel empowered for you. Like, I feel happy for you, because you feel so intimately involved in your journey when your life is more public. So I think that's really cool, because people are sending you that energy, even of like, it's just beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, we are definitely in the business of oversharing, and that comes with like, you know, peaks and valleys. And it's been really beautiful to receive so much positivity over the last couple of months. It's been amazing.
Good. I'm so happy. Textbook oversharer too. I feel like that happens when like your wellness, you have mental health and physical health. I'm mental. Like, when you talk about this stuff and you're so into it, it's so easy to use yourself as an example to relate or explain experiences. So you just end up oversharing your whole life story, your traumas.
Totally.
It's just
I also feel like, for whatever reason, energetically, whenever I meet people, they automatically want to overshare to me. So it's a very cyclical situation. I'm an oversharer, but then I get all of like the downloads, like very.
I feel like because you come off so empathetic. You come off like a true empath that can like truly relate to other people. So I think people feel safe sharing that with you, especially if you've shared it first publicly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Take that. I do want to ask too, kind of similarly along with building confidence and feeling good and like this new ownership, your book is called Do What Feels Good. I love that as a mantra, because I do think self-care and wellness is not a one size fits all. And I think what feels good for us can feel good to someone else. And it's just important to do what's for you. What advice do you have for people that maybe are new to the journey or haven't figured out what feels good, or maybe don't trust themselves to know? Like, because sometimes a pizza and an ice cream feels really good.
Yeah, totally.
But then at what point do you know that it doesn't feel good later? Like, how do you kind of redirect to have that internal understanding?
Totally. So I like to kind of go back to basics. So I feel like it's really important to start to understand like what your hunger cravings are, or if you're thirsty, like at the most basic level, as like that's, I think, more basic than even knowing how or what types of food affect you in what ways. Like that's getting more granular. So even just like taking it back down to basics, like, okay, how do I feel when I am not sleeping 8 hours? Or how am I feeling when I'm dehydrated? Or how am I feeling, when I'm hangry, or I had too much caffeine? Like, these are just like basic levels that I feel like people should start to be like tune into, especially, when we talk about mindfulness, that's exactly kind of what we mean. Like, we're talking about the connection between what you're doing for yourself and how that makes you feel.
100%.
So, and like saying no to commitments, even something as simple as that, as taking, like putting yourself as a priority over doing something for someone else, can be a very strong act of self-care for so many people. So I feel like, it's, the wellness world has obviously exploded, but with that explosion, it's really kind of, I think, moved away from those basics, and it makes the entry kind of difficult for a lot of people.
Yes. That's a really good way to put that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because now there's so much to do, and do you have the latest app and all these things, but like you said, like, what happens to the person who is just starting out on this journey and doesn't necessarily know where to start, but knows that they feel burnt out, or knows that they feel a bit depressed, or knows that they are emotionally eating and overcompensating for something, or, so I think our body tells us these cues, and that's the way I would say, like, the point of entry is. Like, for someone who, is starting to feel less focused, or a bit more agitated, like, I would say, okay, like, maybe that, like, for someone who's having those symptoms, I would say, okay, maybe look at your sleep patterns. What are your nighttime routines before you go to bed? Are you drinking enough water? Are you over, are you like giving too much of yourself to other people, as opposed to, really like honing in on the things that you have to do for yourself? Like, that's a very different kind of set of things to look at based on those specific, I don't want to call them ailments, but like triggers.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Symptoms.
Yeah. Then it would be for someone who is, someone who has a ton of energy and is having trouble being grounded, and is having trouble relaxing at night, and is just an overthinker or something like that, like, then I would say to that person, okay, well, can you look into eating more grounding foods? Have you tried herbal teas? Like, are you taking, like, do you take a cold shower versus a hot shower? Like, cold showers are really, really stimulating. Hot
Are you into Wim Hof?
So I do love, I love a hot cold therapy. I do.
Do you? Okay, I haven't done it yet because I'm such a baby about it. I'm like, I know that I want to try the breathing. I want to do the hot cold, and I just get so wimpy about it.
Do you think
is the journey?
So, well, okay, so I haven't like done the journey, but I've done certain things. Like, a couple of years ago when I was in Australia, I did an underwater breathing course.
Whoa.
And I like was able to breathe underwater for almost 2 minutes, like learning these techniques. And it just made me realize that and it didn't make me realize, it solidified my thoughts around how your nervous system is really just at the core of everything and controls our reactions to basically everything. And we have the power to sit underwater. I mean, my dad, who I was shocked, he's never, I mean, I would not say he's like in tune with his like whole thing. And he was able to do breathing for 3.5 minutes. Like, it was unbelievable. So the power of breath, the power of the mind, the power of the nervous system is so much greater than I think we all realize. And that's why in my book, Do What Feels Good, I really talk about getting back to these basics, because no matter like how big the wellness industry is becoming, like everyone's trying to sell you something, and it's not about what Lululemons you're wearing or what boutique class you're trying. Like, it's like the basics. Are you sleeping? Are you hydrated? Like, how's your mental health? Like, what are you doing to like take time out of your day to focus on you? Like, you know,
the monetization of self-care drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because I think it just makes people feel like they can't be as included in working on their mental health or working on their wellness and working on all these things, when that's a lie. Like you said, like everything is just about the basics and tuning in, and it doesn't have to be buying a face mask. It doesn't have to be what Lululemons you're wearing. Like I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, and like in the book, I have like a bunch of like DIY face masks for all the things that you probably already have in your pantry. Like, I think people forget about like the power of just like natural foods. Like, you know, yogurt is like a great lactic acid. So like, it's not weird to put yogurt on your face. Like, go for it. Just try it out. Like, I think that's what's so like kind of fun about the wellness world, is that there are so many different approaches, right? There are like the DIY, holistic, kind of at home, like make your own magic moment that people kind of forget about when we are constantly being bombarded with the monetization of self-care.
Yeah. To get really actionable about it. So when you're asking people to like notice they're sleeping, notice if they're going around with other people, notice what foods they're eating, maybe for you specifically, like, if you were first starting out or trying to change this up for yourself, would you take the time to like sit and think about it? Are you journaling about it? Are you using an app? Like what do you do to be actionable?
Totally. So in the beginning for me, I found it really helpful to make a schedule. I'm a calendar girl. I live and die by my calendar. I love a schedule. This is what works for me. And so if I knew that I was going to be going out to lunch somewhere, I would look at the menu and like think about what the foods. For instance, when I first got on my wellness journey, I found out after seeing a holistic doctor that I had something called leaky gut. And leaky gut is like not that sexy. It's it's basically when your gut has the lining of your gut has kind of been eroded, and you have all these like micro tears, and so the toxins that should be going through your intestines and going out naturally through your stool, actually some of those toxins seep through those kind of eroded tubes, and then get cycled into your bloodstream. So I had to do a lot of like gut repair in my early days, and so that meant that I needed to like take certain powders and make smoothies for myself every morning. So in my schedule, I would make sure that I gave myself 30 minutes to make my own breakfast before I had a phone call or whatever, you know what I mean? Or an appointment or whatever. And then if I was looking at, you know, meeting someone for lunch, I made sure that we were going to a restaurant where there was food that I could actually eat, and making sure that, you know, I'm just being aware of dairy and gluten and the things that I was trying to avoid at that time. Right. And for most people, I would say journaling is a great thing to do, but don't overthink it, because I find that sometimes when people get committed to food journals, it can also start to create a weird
obsessive
OCD situation, and you don't want that either. There is a fine line to become mindful without being obsessive or overthinking. And I think, you know, right now, especially, like, we need to move forward with so much sensitivity and gentleness towards ourselves. And there's always tomorrow if you slipped up or, you know, ate something that you knew was going to like give you a stomach ache, but you just like wanted to eat anyway. You know, there's always tomorrow. And I always say it's easier to have one day that's a win than a week that's a win. Because one day leads to, okay, wow, I killed it today. That was great. And it really wasn't that hard. Maybe I can do that again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to looking at your whole week and being like, oh my God, like, well, I'm going to this sushi restaurant, or, you know, I've been dying to cook this recipe, or we're having people over and that person is only keto. And you know what I mean? Like, just take it every day at a time, because the anxiety that food and like food security causes on our nervous system is really real. Like, people get crazy amounts of anxiety, depression, OCD, orthorexia, the whole thing, based on their relationship with food. So, you know, it's important. It's like people, you know, it's funny. I'm an advisor to a company called Wellery, which is basically a nutritionist at your fingertips. You pay a monthly, and then you can text them all day long, show them photos of what you're eating, and they know your goals, and they're just there to like help you. And they send you daily tips and reminders, and it's an amazing platform. But their tagline is like, you know, what's the longest relationship you've ever been in? And it's your relationship with food.
Absolutely.
And people sound like a lot of people, and that's also what we mean by mindfulness, right? It's like knowing that this is actually a relationship that you have. Like, every time you reach for something, you're thinking, am I hungry? Am I craving something? Am I bored? You know, like,
am I thirsty?
Am I thirsty? Like, all these things that have to do with your feelings. And that's like what it is. That's what it's like to be in a relationship with someone.
I feel like this goes like this unwillingness to be like gentle with yourself. And if you mess up one day, like, oh, I might as well, like, I've already messed up. I feel like that maybe this is just on my brain, so maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like this kind of comes back to this whole cancel culture thing. Like, we've created this environment where people can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And whether that's political, whether that's working on yourself, whether that's self-care, whether that's your food, I feel like people are in this zone where they're like, oh, if I make a mistake, I can't learn and grow. It's like, oh, I'm out. So you give up. But it's such the opposite. If you can't make the mistake, how are you supposed to learn to get better to grow? Totally. You know, that gentle mindset and approach to it, like you're saying, I think makes the biggest difference.
I couldn't agree more. And I don't even get me started on cancel culture. It's so detrimental to like the growth of this country. It's really sad. I mean, it's sad, but it's also like, unfortunately, like kind of what is to be expected when general public is all of a sudden like the jury.
Yeah. Okay, well, not to get you started, but my next question's kind of political.
Okay.
It was to take it in the wellness route, though. Particularly this summer, we've seen wellness brands blow up with trying to be inclusive of like the BIPOC community.
Yeah.
For you, being a Black woman that has a wellness and has had a wellness like journey and platform for so long, are you kind of in the zone where you feel like that's so responsive, it's almost too little too late? Are you excited to see people finally waking the fuck up, excuse my French, to include people? Like, how do you want to see mental health and wellness in general be more inclusive? And how are you feeling about how politics are affecting that right now?
So I think it's never too little too late, first of all, because I think that there's such irreparable damage done that I think America needs to be doing the most for the next 700 years. So you better start fucking now, because it's definitely not too little too late.
You got a long time to catch up.
Yeah, you need, let's get it going. I will say that I think it's definitely for major corporations, they're on like the reactionary defense. And if it needed to be this social reckoning that, you know, put their gears in motion, so be it. I think it's about fucking time. I've been saying for years that I feel like I'm one of the only Black women in wellness who gets like good recognition. Like I feel like,
and for a long time.
yeah, like you know, I'm very grateful for my journey and to be recognized and work with like people like Adidas and be a global ambassador for them and all those things. But like I'm also, you know, trying to open doors for other women of color, and it's not that there is a lack of women of color in the wellness space. It is the fact that these brands are not supporting these communities and bringing up these women. And so whenever I, you know, am trying to do something or have an endorsement or something, like I am always trying to make sure that it's as inclusive as possible. And I say yes to a lot of these things because it makes me feel like at least if a brand is using someone like me, it'll give someone who looks like me a chance to see someone like me in that position. But 100%. I am very confused as to why like, I don't know. I feel like there's not like 25 of me.
It's also interesting because if you're saying, yes, I want to be involved so that I can be that example for women to see me there, that's still almost making it your responsibility when it should not be. Like, it's almost like you're the only option, so it's your responsibility to have that, which is so twisted.
Yeah, and I've also been in very obvious situations, like the token person of color in scenarios, and sometimes sometimes I'll say no to the situation, but for most times I'll say yes, because again, I would rather be the only Black person on a panel to a room full of white people so that they hear my voice than not. But
it's so gracious of you because it shouldn't be your job.
I know.
It's really gracious of you.
That's just like kind of what it is. And that's really annoying because there are so many incredible women of color, people of color doing so much in the wellness space. It's actually like kind of crazy. And, you know, and like I said, if this social reckoning is what has escalated the eyeballs and taken down the drapes and shown the world that, hey, we've been here all along, like, okay, fine. If this is like the way it had to go down, that's, you know, it's sad, but that's a really real, like, that's America.
It is 1,000%. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, it happened in this way and that's shitty, but we're still getting recognition. So move on with it. Right. Yeah.
But then it also, I mean, I'm not going to lie, on the flip side of that, you know, the pressure I think so many people of color are experiencing right now to say something profound or be the voice or example, it's a lot. Like, I need time to process. Like, I don't want, like, that day we had, like, the blackout social media day that was supposed to just be for amplifying Black voices. It's like, did anyone ask me if I was going to be prepared for this day?
Did anyone ask me to like make a story and be ready for that day? Like,
what was that? I mean, I get it in theory. I understand, and it comes from a good place, but it's also just so crazy. Like, you know, it almost gave me a weird sense of like Dance Monkey Dance. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, again, here we are.
That's the history of what people have done to you. So why? It's just it's the masked way to do it again almost.
Yeah.
Even if it's not malicious, you know, even
no,
if it's
definitely not
that,
malicious. Definitely, you know, definitely. And that's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, if this is our moment, we should definitely take it, right? Because, but it's just one of those things, again, like no one really asked for our input, and
no one really asked anyone if you're emotionally available to do anything. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, were you emotionally available on Tuesday to be the voice that day? Like,
Yeah.
people need to normalize, even in my conversations with friends recently, I've started saying, just because this year, you know, we don't even have to go there, but I've started saying, like, hey, are you emotionally available for me to, like, vent and try to work through something with you? Like, please say no and we can talk about it later. Because I know I haven't been some days.
Totally.
It's just, yeah.
I find that I'm having that conversation with all of my friends, my family members, like all of them. It's very, that's a very, like, and honestly, that's a really nice way of approaching something with a friend or a colleague or anyone, is to ask if they are like emotionally available, because so many of us, you know, and I think there was an article written, like maybe it was in the Atlantic or something, that's like, you know, your Black employees are struggling to make their deadlines because of their emotional capacity right now. And it's like, you know, it's like, okay, we just saw all of this violence, all of this death. Oh, but by the way, do you have your presentation ready for 5:00? You're like, actually, no, I don't.
Actually, no, and that's cool, and lay off. Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's not the priority right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's fingers crossed that the election doesn't trigger your water breaking.
Literally.
Like, manifest a Democratic win.
And I practice my breathing.
Exactly. Okay, to wrap it up, I have like just a couple little speed rounds.
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind type stuff. Go to look when you need a boost of confidence, or you're like going into a situation where, yeah, you just need that boost of confidence. You want to feel good. You want to fake it till you make it. What's like your go-to look or ritual?
Okay, so like I think my go-to look right now, and I know this like sounds very like trendy, but I really do love like an all black like situation with like a little biker short, a cute like mule, and like an oversized like blazer that's maybe like a bright.
With the biker short and the blazer, because that's shaped, because the oversized with the tight, the shape is right there.
And like a cute purse and like maybe an earring.
Done. Game over. Easy and comfortable.
Very.
Easy and comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Okay. Go to, because you're a DJ, go to feel good song.
Go to feel good song.
Which I'm sure you have like what, 25, but maybe like right now.
That's hard. But you know what? I mean, I just gotta like, I mean, he's always in our feels. So like Drake, Laugh Now, Cry Later.
So that video is so funny.
It's so good. He's so good.
He's so good.
He's just so good.
He's
and
just
like
so
also
good.
Just like the title of the song is like How I Feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Last time you changed your mind about something.
Last time I changed my mind about something was just like 2 weeks ago. This is the first thing that came to my head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was 2 weeks ago. I thought that when I was 20 weeks pregnant, I was told that I might have something called placenta previa.
I don't know what that is.
It just means that I would have to have a C-section. And so that was like a lot for me to wrap my head around. And then 2 weeks ago, I found out that that's not the case at all, and that I will be able to have a vaginal birth. So just like I went through a lot of different emotions and feels about how I was going to give birth and like what it all meant. And I ultimately just like came up with like, however this baby needs to like come earthside is how it's meant to happen. And like, I need to surrender, and I cannot control. I am a bit of a control freak, and like, I do not think I'm going to be able to control this labor. So I just need to like lean in and go with the flow, and however it happens, it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
as long as this baby is healthy and like crying when he comes out, it's all good.
And how awesome that you got that moment 2 weeks ago and not in the delivery room last minute, okay, switch, and you hadn't taken the time to process that, you know, like, okay, good. Now, either way, whatever way it goes, you've processed, you're ready, you're good. So that's nice. Okay, last one. What are you feeling optimistic about?
What am I feeling optimistic about? I'm feeling optimistic that that no matter like what happens with our election, I feel like we're getting towards our rock bottom. And with rock bottom, like comes like, you know, a phoenix out of the ashes, right? So
absolutely.
And I do believe that you kind of do need to hit rock bottom in order for that to happen. And I think
I love asking people that. Like, if we really have to go there for ourselves and as a community, do you really have to go to that bottom to make that monumental change?
Yeah.
I think so you say yes. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
I think for some people you don't, but for most people you do. I think it's
or your own version of it. Like people's own versions of rock bottom can look
that's
different
true.
too. You know? So yeah.
So I think our rock bottom is coming. I actually, it's unbelievable to say that we haven't hit it yet, but I think
I don't think we have either though.
Yeah, I think we're on the verge, and I think, you know, with that will come real change. So I'm hoping, you know, I don't think it's going to be fast. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. And maybe it takes 4 years. But
being able to appreciate every change along the way and stay optimistic about the next one is what's going to get us there.
Yeah.
That's all I had for you.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any like final thoughts or things we didn't get to say?
No, this was so great. Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything. It's hard when I don't have other panelists, so I can't like
totally
something that like someone might have like mentioned or said or whatever, but I'm excited to see how you guys put this all together, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. And yeah,
I'm so thankful to talk to you. I feel like we covered a lot of really awesome stuff. I'm so thankful that you are killing it in pregnancy and running the world and joining this panel. Like, thank you for being here, and thank you for all you do.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. Okay, bye.
Okay, how do I end the recording?
I have no idea. I've never